You could just see him there. Nothing more relaxing than fueling your paranoia. Yeah. Don't you think so? Para! Hello! Para, you are coming into the right moment. We're watching a video about how celebrities got killed by their fans. Thank you, Louis. Because I thought it would be an interesting video. Hello, hello, lovers. Alrighty. I'm ready. Let's see if it's loud enough.
They adored them, worshipped them, framed their faces on bedroom
Is it loud
walls,
enough?
sang their songs in the dark, and memorized their every move. To the world, they were stars.
The plushie looks so silly.
icons, untouchable. But to someone else,
Oh
they
yeah,
were
that's her dragon plushie.
So much more. Something personal,
Cozy
intimate,
time then?
and
Yeah.
possessive. Some called it admiration, and others called it love. But what happens when
Love even.
obsession crosses the line?
A
And when fantasy
tiny bit loud there.
fractures? When the person that you idolize becomes the subject of your rage. These are the stories of fame turned fatal. Crime, conspiracy, cults, serial killers.
But yeah, you know her, right? The call me Kris girl. She makes hilarious short videos. I love her. She's so cool.
And murder, all things that
Are
I
you
love
feeding
to
your
consume,
paranoia?
and I know you
Yeah,
do
I
too,
said
you sick,
so.
twisted, beautiful,
You didn't listen, huh?
And today we are talking
didn't
about
listen.
just that. Celebrities who were
I don't
killed
think
by
I know
their
her.
biggest fans.
Metra, you can't be serious. You know her. You know her.
Hello, Katrina,
She makes videos like this.
Janet, Riley, Nisha, and Sergey. Thank you so much for coming.
She's
into
making
my
those
office
type of
today to
things.
discuss this little mishap.
Yeah, what was this little mishap?
Well, it seems that these three have name called.
Yeah,
one of the
it's
younger
her.
Boys in their class.
It's her. She's like, wait, what is her most popular? This one.
What the?
Mom, there's someone at the door.
Oh, really? You think?
Yeah.
The fact that you are my
Just
child
love
and you
it.
still don't get sarcasm is very concerning to me. What? Karen? Yeah. Yeah, you got the wrong house. No. Yeah, no, actually, the uptight, miserable, middle-aged spawn of Satan meeting is
I
down the
actually don't
street. You're
heard
gonna
her
take a
name before.
left. You're gonna see a
Really?
cliff. You're gonna jump off.
So she's really, really famous for those kind of sketches.
Hunter?
Yeah, but she's really good at making. She got famous for that. Okay, I know her mostly just for that. But like I said, recently she's starting to make those crime videos, and just the title "Celebrities Who Were Killed by Their Fans" is the right thing I need right now. Okay, so you have to suffer with me.
So without further ado, let's unbuckle our seatbelts, go Mach 5 down the highway, slam on the brakes, and bust
She's
through
very
this
funny.
windshield into these killer fans together.
Please don't kill me. I have no idea she's long form content like this. I also just recently discovered that.
Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Yesterday, which is probably a week now, I got #2 on the Spotify charts in North America, right under Joe Rogan.
I didn't
I'm
know
coming
she
for
has a
you, Joe.
podcast.
Knocking on
Who
your door.
doesn't have a
But, I
podcast
know
nowadays?
it'll be
What I'm asking
short-lived
even.
or whatever, because you guys like blew up one of my episodes. And but I just want to say thank you so much for listening here and for listening on Spotify as well, along with all the other listening platforms like Apple and the other ones.
The other ones.
And if you didn't know, I am on Spotify as well if you want to listen there. But
Man, Daniel, we already have the audiobooks of Web Dragon Podcast. Metra, how we just not sleep anymore and I just work? Huh?
Got to go to work, Lina and everyone. Have a
Aww.
great stream and day/evening, lubbers. Everyone shursurkfi soejit mororodneo
Guy. Have a lovely day at work. Thank you for hanging out in the morning. Be safe outside. Eat and drink well for us. I see you a bit later, hopefully. Podcast, our 2025 version of mixtapes. I don't even know what to talk about there then. Because I want to do like also more writing stuff. So how about I bonk you with the slipper instead? Monty, I guess we will not have the podcast because the slipper is really big.
I'm floored by the love from you guys and
Bye
this
bye,
true
Kai.
crime
Have a
stuff. It
good
means
one,
the
and thank
world to
you.
me, and I truly enjoy doing this content and learning more, going through these cases and bringing light to certain cases and everything. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for listening. And now we can stop being
I know you
sappy
like radio.
and get into the episode. Mark David Chapman was born May 10th, 1955 in Fort Worth, Texas.
1955?
But he was raised in
Quite a bit
Decatur,
ago.
Georgia. And to those around him, he was often quiet, withdrawn, and deeply imaginative, sounding like me, honestly. And from a young age, he created an
Could be me.
imaginary world called the Little People, where he ruled as their king. This guy's sounding a lot like me right now, and I'm a little scared. But anyway, this was just a fantasy to escape the instability and emotional coldness of his life at home, because his father was reportedly very violent and also very detached from his son, and his mother was just overwhelmed as well, and kind of in her own world, if you will. And as Mark grew up and became a teenager, he just began to spiral. He would use drugs, he would skip school on a regular
Understandable
basis,
that you spiral
and he once even
down.
ran away from
Like the hurdle of spiraling down in such an environment is so fast, right? Just switch the stream to audio only on phone and you have your podcast.
home for 2 weeks, surviving on the streets of Miami. But in 1971, he became a born-again Christian and just threw himself headfirst into faith. And for a while, it seemed
I mean, I can see also why people would do that, right? They're like lonely and have a bad environment, and the Christians do be rubbing honey on your tummy
like his life had changed
to
for the
get you
better.
in.
He would volunteer with children, and he just won praises at the YMCA where he worked. And he would also get married to a woman named Gloria Abe, who was
good
a
for him.
Japanese-American travel agent. And he would eventually move to Hawaii and continue to travel even internationally with relief organizations. So just turning out to be an all-around
That sounds like a good, nice
guy.
life.
Life is
Yeah.
on the up. But even in these good times, the darkness still lingered. And after a few years, he would fall back into his depression. And in 1977, after a failed sewer slide attempt, he would be hospitalized and diagnosed with clinical depression. So eventually he would return back to civilian life, and he would find quiet, solitary work
Bye-bye,
as
Louis.
a janitor in Hawaii, where he lived currently. And from there, reality just continued to distort. And this is when John Lennon would come into the story. Because at a
Who's
time,
that?
Mark had absolutely loved the Beatles.
Oh.
Who didn't? He just admired Lennon's music and his kind of rebellious spirit at the time.
Wait, make sure you know that thing. Hello, boy, welcome. You know the thing? Yeah.
But eventually, that admiration had twisted into something much more sinister. And Chapman just couldn't let go of Lennon's infamous 1966 remark that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. Because as we know, Chapman was deeply
I know John
religious. So
Lennon,
as his
but
religion
not what,
deepened,
like,
so did his
happened to
anger
him.
for Lennon. But it wasn't just the blasphemy that infuriated him, it was the hypocrisy. And he became fixated on the specific book, The Catcher in the Rye. And for those of you who don't know what The Catcher in the Rye is about, it is a novel written by J.D. Salinger, published in 1951. And the novel details 2 days in the life of a 16-year-old Holden Caulfield after he has been expelled from prep school. And confused and disillusioned, Holden searches for truth and rails against the phoniness of the adult world. And he ends up exhausted and emotionally unstable. And the events
I don't
are
know
related
yet.
after
Don't
the
spoil
fact.
me.
So Mark deeply identified with Holden Caulfield's disdain for phonies and just being an outsider in general. And Lennon's wealth and activism sparked a toxic contradiction within Chapman's mind. Because to him, Lennon was both a cultural icon and a man living in hypocrisy. So by 1980, Mark David Chapman had decided that John Lennon needed to die. And going back a little bit, for those of
boy.
you who don't know John Lennon, for whatever reason, he was more than just one of the Beatles. He was basically a symbol, a voice
He
that
was the
helped define
Beatle.
an entire generation. He was born on October 9th, 1940 in Liverpool, England.
That's
and
a
Lennon
cute house.
obviously became a household name with his work with the Beatles and basically changed the face of modern music forever. And after the band's breakup in 1970, Lennon embarked on a solo career marked both by controversy and
Such a dark book,
brilliance. His
okay.
music ranged from Imagine to Working Class Hero. He spoke of peace and revolution and just inner turmoil. And in his personal life, he became a vocal anti-war advocate, which is very popular at the time. And he would frequently target political surveillance, and he was basically a champion for artists and outsiders. But by 1980, John Lennon had kind of retreated from public eye to focus on raising his son, Sean. And after a 5-year hiatus from the music industry,
Totally fine
he
to
had
focus
just
on the
released
child.
Double Fantasy, which was a collaboration with Yoko Ono, who was his wife. Very infamous wife. Guy was a little bit whipped. But the album marked a hopeful new chapter in his life, one that focused on family, creativity, and just re-emergence in general. And
Yeah, I'm so jealous of her hair. Look at the
his
hair.
life, one that
Look at the very fluffy hair, man. Oh, and it looks really good with the head. I'm really jelly. Looks really
focused on
good.
family, creativity, and just re-emergence in general. And to the public, Lennon was more than just an artist. He was a philosopher in pop stars' clothing, basically. But to Mark David Chapman, he became a target. So in October of 1980, Chapman flew to New York City with a .38 special revolver in his
Wow.
suitcase. Different times. Can't even get onto a plane
Like how? Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, how do you even get on the plane with a revolver? How does that go? How's that working?
with nail clippers now. And he was just
Monka.
waltzing into a plane with a .38 revolver. My lord. So like I said, Chapman would land
What
in
times,
New York,
man?
and then he
America.
would realize that he didn't have ammunition, so he would go visit one of his friends in Atlanta to get that ammunition before returning in early November. But while in New York, Chapman would be inspired by the film Ordinary People, and he would stop his plans altogether. Very impressionable guy. So he would hop back on a plane and head back to his home in Hawaii. And he would actually confess all of his dark thoughts and his plans to his wife, even showing her his .38 revolver special that he brought onto a plane, which I just can't get over. But this being a different time and her thinking he wasn't actually ever going to go through with it, she just didn't report it. And if she did, John Lennon might be alive today. So a little bit more time would go by, and Mark would just continue to spiral on this subject of potentially killing John Lennon. And on December 6th, 1980, Chapman would return to New York. And being a superfan, he knew where Lennon resided, which was at the Dakota.
Of course.
So Mark would check into the Sheraton
He
Hotel,
knows
and he
that.
would actually leave some of his things behind, knowing that the cops would find them and hoping that the cops would find them, because he wasn't planning on getting away after he did this act. And with him, he would carry the Catcher in the Rye, having
Just thinking about it, you're sitting in that metal bird, and then they're smoking for like 2 hours into your face. I hated the freaking situation at the Slipknot concert where those people were like smoking in front of my face, and like my friends in my face, and it was just like for an hour, and I already had like pain in my whole head. Welcome back, SCP. I hope you had fun.
signed it Holden Caulfield. And he would then head to the Dakota. And during these 2 days, he would just kind of speak erratically to other fans and the doorman. And on one of the days, he would actually see John Lennon's 5-year-old son, Sean. And Chapman would reach in front of the housekeeper who Sean was with and call Sean a beautiful boy, quoting Lennon's song, Beautiful Boy, which is so creepy. And on one of the days as well, he would even approach very famous artist James Taylor and kind of berate him. And James was even reported saying, "The guy had sort of pinned me to the wall and was glistening with maniacal sweat and talking some freak speak about what he was going to do and stuff with how John was interested and he was going to get in touch with John Lennon." Red flag. And he would also reportedly even offer taxi drivers drugs, which is just so random. It was clearly not well. But overall, people say that he just behaved very disturbingly and spoke incoherently about Lennon. But on the morning of December 8th, Chapman would finally see John Lennon. And Lennon would actually exit the building with his wife, Yoko Ono, and Chapman would approach Lennon with a copy of Double Fantasy and ask for an
Adrian, I'm
autograph.
doing really
And
good.
Lennon
How are you
would sign it.
today?
And we actually have a
Happy Saturday.
photograph of this moment where you can see Chapman in the background smiling,
So he smiled. That is a bit creepy looking from that perspective, I have to say. He's here on the right side. This is like where it happened. Oh boy, and there's a picture about it.
of
doing
this
good,
moment
very
where
good.
you can see Chapman in the
Good job.
background smiling, standing just feet away from the man he was about to kill. And the person that took that photo was Paul Goresh, who Mark had actually asked to stick around to hang out with, and Mark would also ask a woman there to go out with him as well. But they would both decline, and Mark would go on to say in later interviews that if the woman had accepted his invitation, he probably would not have killed Lennon. But Lennon would leave at this point with Yoko Ono, but then
Maybe
they would
next
come
time,
back
Adrian.
around
Don't let that
10:50
discourage you.
p.m. to the Dakota. And as Lennon and Yoko stepped
Maybe
out of
just
the
today was
limousine,
not the day.
Chapman would emerge from the shadows.
It
And he would
happens.
pull out his revolver from his coat and fire 5 shots. 4 of them would strike
5?
Lennon in the back and the shoulder. And bleeding heavily, Lennon stumbled up the steps of the Dakota, crying, "I'm shot." And he would collapse in the lobby. Meanwhile, Yoko Ono was just screaming for help. So officers would arrive quickly and rush Lennon to the Roosevelt Hospital. But he would be pronounced dead at 11:15 p.m.
Oh,
that
boy.
night. And John
Welcome
Lennon
home,
would be 40
Yanta.
years old at this time. Meanwhile, Chapman didn't even attempt to flee the scene. He just remained outside the Dakota reading The Catcher in the Rye. And inside the book, he had written, "This is my statement." And when the police arrived, he would peacefully
boy.
surrender. And news of Lennon's murder just ricocheted across the globe. Visuals would erupt in major cities,
It's
and in
so
Central
sad.
Park, 200,000 mourners gathered in stunned silence. I mean, this is up there with Princess Diana and Michael Jackson. This was an incredibly big deal. Radio stations would play Lennon's music on
Tell me it's not true is fans' reaction to murder ex-Beatle John Lennon. Police fearful life of Lennon suspect. Imagine you're just meeting a fan and then you get shot. You know, I'm happy just someone in the future being a walking TV and safely at home. I don't mind being a big ass TV on wheels, but safely at home. I don't mind that at all. I enjoy it. I enjoy being a freaking TV on wheels. Oh.
loop. And for millions, it felt like the voice of peace itself had been silenced. And in later
Teresa
interviews,
Grimmie.
Chapman would admit that his motive was completely selfish. He just wanted fame, to become somebody, and killing Lennon in his warped logic was the only way to do that. So Mark would be convicted of second-degree murder
I
and
mean, yeah,
sentenced to
he became famous, but famous as being a murderer. I don't know if you want that in your lifetime, especially like after what comes with that, right? Hello, Tyram. Happy Saturday.
20 years to life. And he remains in prison to this day and has been denied parole repeatedly. But I don't know why he didn't get first degree, because he clearly pre-planned all of this like months and months
No,
before.
it's
But
not
that is-
Dyram.
it's not my shit. And he's in jail for life, so whatever. But John Lennon imagined a world of peace, free of violence and full of possibility. And in the end, he was just brought down by a man who mistook obsession for righteousness and found his place in history through an act of irreversible tragedy.
Tragedy and damage, because like
Hatchlings,
so
I'm
many
here to inform you that there are some ads coming up soon.
so many people saw John Lennon as like an idol for all the positivity, and like as a like when they feel down, that they just like have him as something positive in their life, basically. And then you just take it away. It is a lot of damage that you do to people. Very true, Daniel. But yeah, I can't wait being a freaking iPad or TV on wheels. I'm looking forward to that. When the motive is fame, they tend to just stop the name of being mentioned in media. Yeah. I don't know any figures of peace that weren't punished for their beliefs. That makes me even more scared now. Excuse me? Right, kid?
Kevin James Loibel was a 27-year-old from
Okay,
St.
next story.
Petersburg, Florida. And he was known to be pretty quiet, withdrawn, and for many accounts, deeply isolated.
Another very quiet, isolated man. Good start.
Sounds like somebody else we know from
More
the last
reasons.
story. So Kevin kind of kept to himself, but he had a job at Best Buy. And his coworkers would describe him as strange and emotionally distant. And
Oh,
every
boy.
single time
That is a bad start already. That is a very bad start already.
he spoke, he would speak about the same person. And that person was Christina Grimmie. And what began as a fan's admiration evolved into something much darker.
She
Kevin
pretty,
was
man.
known to watch her
She's
videos
pretty.
obsessively. He believed he knew her. The parasocial relationship was strong with this one. And Kevin even
boy.
thought that they were spiritually connected. And he would even go as far as to tell coworkers that they had actually played video games together, him and Christina, when they actually had never spoken at all, or even met for that fact. So he was determined to make himself more presentable for her when he
Most sane VTuber fan. Yeah. I mean, we all know about the sledgehammer. I think we all know about the sledgehammer and freaking poor being Camila. I don't know if you've seen Jojo, but describing him like that, he's like Kira Yoshikage. He was also a weird criminal guy. The sledgehammer. You know what is? You don't understand what I mean? This. That's a sledgehammer. A big bonk hammer. And some random dude found out where Camila was living and tried to get into the house with a freaking sledgehammer. Yeah. The poor girl. And she was streaming while that happened. And then they had a panic room in their house. Her mom was with her. They also, she is trained using a gun for emergency. That was a couple months ago. You didn't know? That was a big thing. But yeah, the police got him very, very quickly, and nobody was harmed. But and the thing is, how she got found is, I guess one of those tags, like those electronical tags, was found, like probably was in one of her gifts that she got. And I don't know if it was not checked or anything like that. Yeah, like a safe room, a panic room, where you can like have a very, very thick door. It's safe against gunshots and stuff like that. It happened. Yeah, GPS tracker. So probably a GPS tracker was in one of her gifts that she got on a convention or some kind of meet and greet. And that's how he found her. And he was like there. She was streaming in the evening, and he was like walking in the night. The mom already saw that in the camera system that they had for security, like a camera security system. And then, like, she got Camila. They went into the panic room. They got the gun. They called the police. So nothing happened. But I mean, aside from the trauma that she has now, and that they probably have to move because who knows who know the address now. Hello, pizza. The Chilla Art Horror Games Parasocial. Exactly. We played that, by the way. We played that. It was a good game, but horrifying in real life. Some car thieves put them on women's cars in shopping malls. And that's why, for example, like when we have the PO box and stuff like that, I will open every package before I go anywhere. I will freaking check every little corner because I'm so scared. Yes. I'm very sure it was US. I will open everything. Even if we do like an opening again on stream and stuff like that, I have to check it. I have to check everything. Yes. I also will get that thing, but I will also open up everything because I also don't trust it fully. I have to see what's in there. I know it ruins a little bit the surprise when we do like those like showing stuff on stream, but it's just to keep myself safe. It would be stupid not to check before I go anywhere with the stuff you sent me. I wouldn't say that, Daniel. It's just depending on where the fans are living. Oh, thank you, Zolti. All right, let's continue. But yeah, that happened. That happened a couple months ago. That is the problem because of the bad eggs. I have to do that. Hello, Tim. Welcome. I mean, if I got a random box, I would be surprised. Also, yeah. The thing is also the PO box will not be even close to my home. So I will have to travel a while to get there. And that's why I will check everything on the spot before I go home. It's not only the US. It's everywhere. But yeah, I will travel quite a bit to get the stuff. But yeah, let's continue the video.
He did finally get to meet her. So he would undergo LASIK eye surgery, he had his teeth whitened, he started a vegan diet, and he even got hair implants. It was just a full transformation, not just rooted in self-care, but in pure delusion. And since he spent most of his time with his coworkers, they began to notice his aggression whenever someone questioned his claims about Christina, because he believed in his soul that they were soulmates. So when images surfaced online of Christina and another man, Kevin did not take it well.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, that poor woman. Oh, that poor woman.
2016, he decided if he couldn't be with her,
nobody can.
Then no one could.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who do not know Christina Grimmie, she was born on March 12th, 1994 in Marlton, New Jersey. And her rise to fame began in her bedroom where she uploaded covers of popular songs to YouTube. I was actually a big fan when she was on YouTube. She was so talented. And she quickly stood out to the masses, not just for her incredible vocal range, but for her authenticity. And her fans didn't just admire her voice, but they actually felt connected to her. And in 2014, Christina Grimmie actually competed in season 6 of The Voice. And she would place 3rd under the guidance of Adam Levine, which she should have won, in my humble opinion. But her influence extended way beyond the show. During the show and during her YouTube career, she would build a following that followed her through live streams, concerts, and fan meetups. And her music spanned pop, acoustic, and even rock. And she often cited artists like Christina Aguilera and Selena.
The videos about celebrities who were killed by their fans to raise my paranoia.
Dion as inspirations to her. And offstage, she was known as warm and approachable and deeply connected to her fan base. And she never saw herself as above them, like a lot of people in the industry unfortunately do. And that humility that she had would ultimately...
So she was really base, very inspirational to have such a big creator, big music maker, being so base and humble. This is like the goal. This is the goal.
Be what brought her face to face with her killer. But in the months leading up to her
this is
murder,
not the goal.
Kevin
this is not the goal.
Increasingly fixated on Christina, and he would start to make a plan. So he illegally purchased 2 handguns and multiple rounds of ammunition and a large hunting knife. And he would even encrypt his phone and remove the hard drive from his computer before leaving for Orlando, hiding evidence. Basically an intentional effort to just leave no trace of his plans. So he would go to Orlando and book a hotel room near the Plaza Live, traveling with absolutely no luggage. And that alone caught the attention of the front desk clerk at the hotel. But no action was taken because although it rings alarm bells, what are you gonna do? The guy just traveled light. But on the night of June 10th, 2016, Christina performed at the Live Plaza in Orlando as part of a small tour. And after the show, like many others, she held a meet and greet. And Kevin would be at this concert and at the meet and greet, and he would just quietly wait in the back of the crowd. So like any other...
Wait, what?
And at the meet and greet, and he would just...
You could just see him there. I guess it's a numbers game. If you have millions of fans, the likelihood that one of these people is insane becomes relevant. And you have to be You have to be you little buggers. Essen, I know you plotted this. It is sadly a thing, Darren. And it's also a thing. It's not only towards females, like you saw with John Lennon. It can happen to anyone. Right? So there are also like crazy people that kill men, basically, because they're a celebrity. Mm-hmm. Tim.
Quietly wait in the back of the crowd. So like any other meet and greet, Christina would meet with her fans
Anyone can
with
be a
hugs
target,
and smiles and autographs and photos.
Parasocialism is not specifically in a specific kind of niche. It's everywhere, and that is not good. Just keep it down.
But in amongst the line of the meet and greet, one fan would note that Kevin seemed a little bit off.
Maybe.
Just looking around a lot before
Maybe,
he
yeah,
met
Darren.
Christina.
Who
But
knows?
Kevin would finally get to the front of the line, and Christina would open her arms for a hug. And that's when Kevin would pull out his Glock pistol and shoot her 3 times at point blank range. And Christina's brother, Marcus Grimmie, would tackle Kevin immediately. But Kevin would struggle and break free and then back up into a wall and shoot himself in
Very
the head,
true,
killing
Riken,
him
very true.
instantly. Meanwhile, Christina would be rushed to the Orlando Regional Medical Center, but despite efforts to save her, she was pronounced dead at 10:59 p.m.
That's a good
And the
idea, Adrian.
autopsy revealed the obvious truth, which was gunshot wounds to the head and chest. And she would die at only 22 years old. And obviously the music world
She
and
had
just
the
the
life
world
in
in
front of
general
her.
was stunned. Fans, friends, and fellow artists flooded social media with tributes to her. Even Selena Gomez cried on stage because they were actually pretty good friends. And Adam Levine, who was her mentor on The Voice, actually paid for her entire funeral. And the hashtag Rip Christina trended for days. And
It's
all
so
of this
young. It's
occurred
like
just one
just
day
started
before the
adult life.
infamous Pulse nightclub shooting as well. And it was later discovered that while bags were generally checked at venues, there were no metal detectors. So no one was frisked at all, and Kevin was able to enter completely armed. So the Grimmie family would naturally file a wrongful death suit against several entities in Florida,
Zelda
as
nerd
they
and stuff?
should.
Oh,
But
really?
it ultimately was dismissed. And her family would establish the Christina Grimmie Foundation, supporting families that have been affected by gun violence and breast cancer. And her death also led to many asking for increased security at performance art venues. So
Good.
many venues that did not have metal detectors beforehand added them. And Billboard published an open letter to Congress.
What I really don't like is, why does it first have to happen something tragic until you upgrade in security? Why does it first have to happen something? Welcome back, Bob. Good job finishing the game. Why it has to happen first before you do something for security? Why you can't just be preventive, basically? Competence and nonchalance. No one gives a shit. It's too expensive and practical. Money. I mean, what the only thing that also comes into my mind is like, that's a just something I know from Germany. For example, when you are a female and you're being harassed a lot online, and you're getting like death threats and such, and you go to the police, the chances of that something will be done is so low. And then then something happens because the police ignored it and didn't pursue the problem, and then something happens to that person, and then suddenly it's a big media thing. Like, why does someone has to be harmed first, or even worse, before something is done? I know it is the problem is a lot of things happen on the internet, a lot of harassment, a lot of like deep fakes, which are could also be like a crime and stuff like that. The world is just not ready, and the security system of all countries is not ready. What is happening on the internet? Like, for example, remember the last stalker I had, which is like 15 years ago now, which is good. But he threatened me with like I got death threats almost every day. Like, yeah, I should if I would if I would be you, I should not go outside today. I'm not feeling right. I would not go outside today. Yeah. I mean, 13 or 15 years, something like that. Of course, Darim, it's not enough resources, but it's not a reason that it should be ignored like that, because after it happens, it's a big media thing. But it's always just after it happened. After someone died, or after someone got badly hurt, or like has disabilities at some point and stuff like that. Why does it have to happen first until people do something about it? I know the resources are tough, right? I'm very much aware, but it should not be like this. Why you don't like stack up the resources as much as you can? I know it's a money thing too, but isn't a life more worth than money? It should be, right? It should be. Look at the US. They're so hyper about security now that you can SWAT streamers and they might die. Yeah, congratulations. My sister had a stalker blowing her old number, and we were told to keep the phone on and collect evidence. Did they actually do something against that person, Adrian? Our lives have price tags. It should not be like that, though. I know it's not that. I know it's not, but it should not be. Not that I know. Or congratulations. Not against you, but I mean the authorities. It should not be like this. This is so sad. And I say that as one of the greediest creatures you could have. Like, I'm bleeding greed, basically, as a dragon. And even I have more empathy than a lot of humans. Not you, right? But a lot of humans are so greedy. It even disgusts me as being the greed in person. It's so weird. Greed about our money and love. No. You do know that we have the thing in the rules where I say, please treat yourself first. Be comfortable, eat well, drink a lot of water, do your family a favor, buy yourself something nice, and somewhere at the end of the line, maybe there's me. Right? I'm not delusional then.
Fighting for more gun control, demanding universal background checks, which is crazy to think that that wasn't a thing before this. And Christina's music she finished before her passing, including the EP side B.
I can imagine that police tend to not take people serious. I have an experience with that with doctors. And I don't know. I don't understand it. It's something that I simply cannot understand. So weird.
And the album All Is Vanity was released the following year. But even with her voice preserved in music, the question lingered. How could such kindness end in violence?
Thank you,
Because Christina Grimmie was someone who gave everything to her fans. And in the end, it was that very act of giving that placed her within reach of someone who mistook obsession for affection. Someone who didn't want to love her, but possess her. And it's extremely, extremely unfortunate. But I will also be linking that.
Asked me, Lina is asking for love and my credit card details. Please advise on what I should do. Oh, classic Lina. Always fishing for love and those sweet credit card numbers. Listen, don't fall for it. Keep your money safe and your love even safer. Instead, give Lina some good old-fashioned sass back and tell them to keep dreaming. Maybe throw in a joke about Mooney's lack of Riz while you're at it. But no credit card numbers, all right? Keep that wallet closed.
Wow. 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 Most likely, Adrian. I mean, it could have many reasons, but I think this sounds very valid. Yeah. Ima give you sass.
recommendation down below and also giving a contribution to it as well. So you can donate to that if you want. But that brings us to our next story.
Platonically, right? Is that the right word? Platonically? Daniel?
Robert John Bardo was born January
Never
7th,
says. Nah, you can.
1970.
It's
He
fine.
was actually born at the Edwards Air Force Base in California and was the youngest of 7
Platonically,
children.
it's totally
That's
okay.
too
I don't mind
many.
that.
Okay. And his father was a
Like, I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. We all vibe. That's the goal. And this is, like, keeping it platonically is very, very good, I think.
commissioned Air Force officer. So the family would move around pretty
Yeah,
frequently.
Yonta's our little gem. I'm sorry.
Bardo's early years were marked by instability, emotional trauma, and a lot of mental illness because he was actually taken advantage of by one of his siblings, and he would even be placed into foster care for a period after a slew or slide threat. And by his teenage years, Bardo had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and he would be institutionalized at the age of 15. But despite his emotional issues and being institutionalized, little was done to monitor or manage his deteriorating mental health.
Swedish
So while
gem.
being in the institution, he was continuing to do school, but
I don't appreciate Swedes too much. It goes directly into their head.
he would drop out of high school and work odd jobs after getting out of the institution, including a brief stint as a janitor. And over the years, he would just become increasingly reclusive, and he would become very withdrawn with reality and become obsessed with fame and celebrity. And before fixating on this particular celebrity, Bardo had attempted to contact and stalk several other public figures, including child peace activist Samantha Smith and pop singer Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. But his obsession with Rebecca Schaefer would be all-consuming, because Bardo just saw her as the embodiment of innocence and purity, which is icky, coming from just a man who doesn't know her at all. Just very icky. And when he watched her in the sitcom My Sister Sam, he believed she was speaking directly to him. So the delusion was real. So he began sending letters on letters on letters, one of which was actually received and had a polite reply, which was basically a gesture of kindness that would later be twisted in a delusion of connection. And for those of you who don't know who Rebecca Schaefer is, she was born on November 6th, 1967 in Eugene, Oregon. And she became a model as a teenager and transitioned into acting, landing commercial and minor television roles. But her big break came in 1986 when she was cast as Patty Russell, the sweet, bubbly young sister in the CBS sitcom My Sister Sam. And the show was a modest hit, and Schaefer became a rising star in the eyes of the public. Known for her girl next door charm and wholesome appeal, she was carefully crafting a future in both television and film. And unlike many of her peers, Rebecca remained very grounded, friendly, and very professional. So her future just looked very bright in Hollywood. And she was only 21 years old when she auditioned for a part in The Godfather Part 3, a role that, had she lived, might have taken her career to new heights. Now, Bardo's obsession with Rebecca would intensify when he saw her in a provocative bed scene in scenes from The Class Struggle in Beverly Hills. Because in his deluded, delusional, stupid mind, this was some sort of betrayal against him, even though it was just TV.
It was just a role, right? She was just playing a role. And even if she's not playing a role, she can do whatever she wants. She's not your property. Like, you don't even know her. She never heard your name, basically. How can you even try to think that you have any power over her? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, my arm. Ugh. I'm falling apart.
Acting. The scene just made her no longer pure in his eyes. So he was just convinced that she sold herself out. So Bardo's adoration just curdled into hatred. And he would even go as far as to hire a private investigator.
SCP, not my first time. I have 3 stalkers. I know how it is. I know how scary it is.
Investigator for $250 to obtain Rebecca's home address through California DMV records. Which, like, how the f*** is that legal, or was legal? So he would get that information, and then he would ask his brother to help him get a gun.
I don't think I've ever seen something this breathtakingly beautiful.
It's okay. It's okay. It's been a long time ago. I'm over it.
since his mental illness disqualified from buying his own. But he would ultimately secure a .357 Magnum revolver. And on July 18th, 1989, Bardot flew from Tucson to Los Angeles and tracked down Rebecca's apartment. And that morning, he would ring her doorbell carrying an autograph she had once sent him, the one letter that he received back. And Rebecca, who unfortunately was just expecting a script to be delivered at that time, just answered the door with no question. So she would open the door and she would see him and actually speak very kindly to him, but ask him just not to return. So he left. But less than 2 hours later, he would come back. So at approximately 10 a.m., Bardot would return to Rebecca's doorstep. And this time, when she
there's camera footage?
answered, he would pull out his revolver and he would shoot her once in the chest at point blank range. And she would immediately collapse inside the doorway of her apartment. And he would later recount after being caught that she asked why. And paramedics arrived very quickly and rushed her to Cedars Sinai Medical Center. But despite resuscitation efforts, she was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. And Rebecca Schaeffer was only 21 years old at the time of her death.
Young.
And the murder of Rebecca Schaeffer just sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the nation. Visuals were held in Los Angeles and across the country. And for many, it was the first they truly saw the dangerous power of unchecked obsession in the celebrity-fan relationship. And Bardot would be arrested the next day in Tucson after wandering the streets. He was actually found weaving in and out of traffic, reportedly shouting, "I killed Rebecca Schaeffer." Subtle. But thankfully, he would be charged with first-degree murder. And in 1991, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And Rebecca's death led to sweeping changes in privacy laws. California actually passed the first anti-stalking law in the United States. And the Driver's Privacy Protection Act was signed in federal law in 1994. Which, like, why the fuck was that ever open to public? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But it basically made it illegal for DMV records to be disclosed without a person's consent. And her murder also prompted the creation of the LAPD's Threat Management Unit, dedicated to handling cases involving celebrity stalking. And though her life was incredibly short, Rebecca Schaeffer's legacy has protected thousands. She wanted to live quietly, work hard, and build a meaningful life through her craft, but instead she became a symbol of how celebrity, when distorted through obsession, can turn fatal.
It's so sad. They just want to do positive things and like create art, no matter if it's like singing or filmmaking, whatever it is, right? They just want to impact the world positively, and it just ends bad. I'm thinking, I want to do a positive thing for the world. Protect me. Protect me. He was obsessed with her, thinking she was meant to be with him. And when he was rejected, hello, Kage! Hello. And give people a good entertainment, make their life a bit more happy. Yeah. Time to arrest all evil. How you doing, Kage?
Yolanda Salvador was born September 19th, 1960 in San Antonio, Texas. And she was raised in a very conservative American-Mexican household. She was known by many to be very studious and soft-spoken.
The problem is, even being a dragon, human have some dangerous weapon laying around. Just woke up, good morning!
And Yolanda even earned a degree in nursing and worked in various hospitals throughout the 1980s. But eventually she would settle in Corpus Christi. But outwardly, she was unremarkable. A dedicated nurse who was a devoted fan of Tejano music. But in 1991, she became more than just a fan, because Yolanda would begin calling Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla Jr., just repeatedly, begging to start an official Selena fan club. And with persistence and a polished image, she eventually convinced him. And as president of this fan club, Yolanda quickly gained Selena's trust and access to her inner circle. And over time, she was even promoted to manage Selena's growing fashion empire, Selena Etc. boutiques. But behind the polished surface, Yolanda's behavior turned increasingly possessive. And employees were...
I walked in on Selena. Yeah.
report that she was very controlling, manipulative, and increasingly unhinged when challenged. And in early 1995, financial discrepancies began to surface. Complaints would start to roll in from fans and customers about missing merchandise and unreturned phone calls. So not doing a really good job at managing. And Abraham, Selena's father, would launch an investigation. And what he found would set the stage for betrayal. But who is Selena? Selena was born April 16th, 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas. And she would be the youngest of 3 children. And Selena's talent was evident from a very early age. Her father, Abraham, who was a former musician, actually formed the family band Selena y Los Dinos. And by the age of 10, Selena was performing at weddings, fairs, and festivals across Texas.
Oh, she's from Texas. This was very oofers. Okay, wait, what Dara said. Honestly, I'm often surprised by the psychological effect of isolation because I spend a lot of time alone. But on rare occasions, I go to parties or public events or something where I can meet and talk to new people. And it radically changes my mood and self-image for days. I mean, yeah, you humans are social creatures, so it is very normal that you feel comfortable in social situations. Even me, like I really, really like being alone. Man, I really like that. But I also like spending, for example, like I really like the work in the bookstore because I'm not working full time in there, so I still have more freedom. But I really like my coworkers. I love to banter with them too. I love to have like connection with them. Like I really like being alone. It's happy time, but I also like being around people that I care about. Because that is also like really nice to charge up. I don't think they deplete my social batteries. They're like just keeping them stable, but I get different benefits from them. I like sleeping in my warm cave. That's okay, right? I do like so the thing is I like to look out for people that do not deplete my social battery. They keep it stable, but I get like other benefits like giggling, sharing experiences, bantering a little bit. It doesn't deplete me, for example. Like even streaming, like a lot of people are really tired after a stream. Funny thing, on threads, I think I answered one question of someone random, and they asked how long people usually stream. And I said, yeah, 4 hours, but I would like to go longer. The problem is I don't get other work done in the meantime then. And they're like, oh, 4 hours? That's so long? And I'm like, hell no, I would like to go double daily. I would go double daily, but I can't. Man, I love that. I love spending time with you. It does not deplete my energy level at any point. So, maybe that's why I'm so addicted to it. Thank you, Moya. Maybe that's why I'm so addicted to it. Yeah, the average, I think so too, Para, actually. I honestly do feel somewhat better when I went outside and talked to people. Yeah, even like going to a store and having like just the normal hi, yada yada. Like when I go to the supermarket here in the village, if a specific coworker is there, her name is Sandra. When she's there, we just have a little chit chat. I'm talking about my plans, asking about her family. Just like those few minutes is already making my day, and then I'm just alone for the entire day again. Like aside when Rumi is home. Socialize is so good and so annoying. I mean, it is necessary. You are social creatures. 4 hours isn't that long, no? Yeah, I know, but for some people, it's. I mean, everybody has different time schedules, right? For some people, 4 hours sitting in one thing do be. No, it's not. It's not my coworker. It's the worker in the store, in the grocery store. But yeah, for some people, of course, maybe they have like kids or have like longer work hours. Maybe they take care of their parents. They do not have 4 hours of their day to spend on streaming, and that is okay. But the sheer amount of surprises that I got, like 4 hours is so long, and I'm like, dudes, when I started, I streamed for 10 hours a day. I like the library because I know the librarians in my local library since I had to go weeks to work there. Oh, and then you can chat about with them about it. Yeah. Riken, you do socialize just in a different way. Imagine streaming is kind of like being a dungeon master, very exhausting. Really? You imagine it like that? I don't know. I really like it. I don't know. I just like to yap at you and do silly things, watching a video and then talk about different scenarios and how we think about different things. 8 hours Lina stream someday. We have to ask Mecha for that because the thing is 8 hours to be tiring and I have to do other shit. I think my social battery is very charged and full because I'm shy introvert person, but in a group of new people, some of them often most outspoken and social. Darren, I also don't know how that works. 8 hour stream, please don't. Why not? I don't know, some pull off. I mean, I did that pull. I passed out like, I don't know, at least 3 times. And the previous moderator, who's not a moderator anymore, had to call me like in at 5 a.m. Like, Lina, you're sleeping, wake up. I was just sitting like this. I'm sleeping. Would you need more mods for 12 hours? I don't think so because we have wait. Metran, Shorsh, and Nico are European, and we have Hannibal for the Americans. Like we cover up like the biggest spectrum, the biggest spectrum of time where we have a mod available. But I also know how to moderate myself. It's still not as big that I could not moderate myself. You're talking so much. It's okay. Sometimes it's surprise I'm up for long. Can I even watch every stream now? How does it look when you stream that long? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I would stream longer. Like I said, I would like to stream how I work and what I do. But I don't know how that would go on my batteries, to be honest. Because sometimes when, especially like right now, I'm like pre Shark Week, and usually I'm way more tired than during that time. I don't get tired by streaming. I just get tired by sitting. So as after a while, my body's just like, I don't want to sit anymore. I want to sleep. which is the thing. Not that guy again. Yeah, we have Shark Week soon again. Strawberry season nearly upon us. Prepare your baskets. You do know that I feel better once strawberry season starts. It's pre-strawberry season right now that is dangerous for you. Also, I could totally go for 24 hours if need be. True, we have para. We have backup. We have insomniac para backup. If something is needed. Oh, no, I'm totally fine. Like moderating myself still. It's not the biggest deal. Thank you, SCP. Speaking of antisocial, I told all my friends and family my first week of holidays I'm locking myself and not stepping out. Reckon I did the same. Like back in the day when I worked in the company for the furniture. Like, oh yeah, I have vacation in
SCP-3998 asked me. Lina thinks about streaming for longer, but that will make her mentally sick. Tell her to be a good girl and stick to her 4-hour streams. Ah, my dear Lina. Let's not venture into the realm of madness, shall we? A delightful 4-hour stream keeps us all hanging on like a sumptuous meal without overindulgence. Let's not make you a cautionary tale of obsession and delirium. Remember, moderation is key, darling. Besides, we wouldn't want you turning into a sleep-deprived specter haunting the digital realm.
True.
Now, would we?
True. Okay, where? What did we talk about? The backup that can be awake in all time zones. Very true, Para. Very true. Break on. Shut up! Shut up! Let me be a simp at least once, man. Neuron activation. Wanna pause the stream? No! That would be weird. That would be weird. You're so evil with that. Don't do this.
And though she spoke English at home,
I ate it,
she
yeah.
sang in Spanish. But Selena just captivated audiences with her vocal range, infectious charisma, and magnetic stage presence. And she quickly just became this sensation in a male-dominated Tejano music scene. And Selena would actually go on to win the Female Vocalist of the Year at the Tejano Music Awards at just the age of 15. And then she would just go on to dominate the charts. And in 1994, she would win a Grammy Award for Best Mexican American album. She was the first
shooting
female
star.
Tejano music artist to do so. So just a pioneer in the Tejano music industry. But beyond music, she was a cultural icon. She was a fashion designer, an entrepreneur, a role model. Her boutiques and clothing line showcased her creativity and business savvy. And she was working on her crossover English language album, Dreaming of You. So Selena wasn't just on the brink of superstardom, she was already there. And by early 1995,
That is so inspiring. She's like doing everything she loves. I want that someday. Someday I will be. I mean, I already do what I wanted to do years ago. So I kind of already am there. I just need to go further and then I can live off from it. That's a lot of job skills. I mean, Daniel, being a streamer is a lot of job skills too. Like you stream, you edit, you write your text, so you're like kind of writer, you're a graphic designer. In my case, because I'm making my own model, I'm an artist and rigger. Let us know how we can help. Man, I even have to think how you could help. Like SCP is not giving me peace. He already like trying stuff,
Darling.
and I'm just so overwhelmed. I can't even look up all his things because I'm working so much. SCP, I'm so sorry, dude. I tried to look through the things he posted. I did not unsee it. I just didn't have the time. I just didn't have the time, dude. I just didn't have the time. I will try. Like you want me to rest, and I'm like, yeah, but I need to work too. It's very, very difficult. Keys. I ate it, yeah.
Abraham, Selena's father, confronted Yolanda about the missing funds, which at this point were totaling over $30,000 from both a fan club and boutique sales. And Yolanda would be dismissed shortly after a tense meeting with Selena and her family on March 9th. But Selena, known for her compassion, continued communicating with Yolanda.
I don't know. Last week? I think Friday, but I'm not sure. Don't know, honestly. I was like, yesterday I was thinking about the shower, but then I didn't feel like it. Thank you, Louis. That's the thing with Tism, man. You just don't want sometimes you just don't want specific textures on your body, and water do be a texture. Your tism is showing. I know. I'm not greasy. I am not greasy. My hair is very fluffy because of my brush. I'm not greasy. Shut up. I ate it here. Let me reload the chat. Christ, you're still on that video. We're chatting the entire time. What do you mean, Christ?
in hopes of
I'm not a
recovering
cat.
important financial documents needed for tax
It's
purposes.
fine.
And on
I have
March
more
30th,
unshowered
Selena would
nicknames for you
actually
anyway.
meet Yolanda
Wow.
at the Days Inn Motel
Wow.
in Corpus Christi. And Yolanda would turn over
What
some
if I shower
documents
tomorrow?
but claimed others were
If
in
I
Mexico.
remember
And
it.
she had also alleged she had been
I love
SA'd during her
sauna.
trip, but it was just a claim.
I've
and it
been
has
there
not
like a
been
month
proven.
ago.
So the next morning, Selena would pick her up again and take her to the hospital, but doctors found no evidence of the assault. So she would drive Yolanda back to the hotel, and she would ask, where are the missing records? And Yolanda would just try to stall. So Selena, thinking that she wasn't going to give her anything, just began to
I want to make a joke with daddy mode. Let me see if that gives me freedom finally. Oh my god. That's so cute, dude. Oh, oh. Help me. Stop using it. Like the bot watchers are like, what is happening? Because I need to reload the chat. I'm dying. Stop it. Stop. My brain. I'm lacking oxygen. Help me. Oh, I have to look away. I will not pay attention to you. I'll just watch the video, drink some
leave.
water.
And that's when
I will ignore
Yolanda
you now.
would pull out a revolver. So on the morning of March 31st, 1995,
I'm lacking oxygen.
approximately 11:48 a.m.,
Oh.
Selena would be shot once in the lower right shoulder with a 38 caliber Taurus revolver. And the bullet
Yeah, well, what we came back to. We got all the good lost. Thank you, Metra. The lady boss on the screen looks like she got a whip. I hate it. Oh god, help me. Help me. Brave. Brave. Okay.
would unfortunately sever an artery, causing massive internal bleeding. And wounded, but still conscious, Selena would flee the room. And she would leave a 392-foot-long trail of blood through the motel. And eventually, she couldn't go any further, and she would collapse in the motel lobby. And she would just be screaming, but she would identify Yolanda as the shooter before losing complete consciousness. And she would also even manage to identify the room number Yolanda was in. So she would soon after be...
Lina, why are you not locking the bathroom until the shower has happened? What do you mean? Oh, my body's too tired to laugh. Oh, oh god. Yeah, there's the oxygen lag.
rushed to Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital, where doctors would attempt emergency surgery on her. The injury was unfortunately too severe. And at 1:05 p.m., Selena was pronounced dead. And at the time of death, she was only 23 years old.
Also
and
very
news
young.
of Selena dying just stunned the world. Memorials were held across the United States and Latin America, and over 60,000 fans attended her public viewing in Corpus Christi. And her death was likened to the death of John Lennon or even Elvis Presley. Just sudden and senseless and seismic. Meanwhile, after the shooting, Yolanda would enter a 9-hour standoff with police from the parking lot at the Days Inn motel before surrendering, and she would naturally be charged with first.
See, it's not a gender thing. It's a very, very parasocial mental health problem. that gets people into those situations.
Degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years, which like, why? Why give this psycho a chance to get out? But luckily, she was denied parole on March 27th of 2025, and she will be eligible again in 2030. And Selena's album,
she's still in
released
prison.
post-death, Dreaming of You, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, which was a historic first for Latin artists. And in 1997, her life was immortalized in the biopic Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez. And statues, street names, festivals, and museums have dedicated to preserving her memory. And in 2024, she was awarded the National Medal of Arts, reaffirming her lasting influence. And Selena was more than just a singer. She was a cultural bridge and a beacon of representation, and basically just a dream realized. And her life was filled with love and light and limitless potential. And that potential was unfortunately ended by a fan that she let get too close. So these tragedies just remind us that fame isn't just a spotlight. Sometimes it can unfortunately be a target. And when fantasy curdles into resentment, when devotion distorts into delusion, the very thing that lifts a star into the sky can be the same thing that brings them down. So if you found yourself unsettled by these stories,
Hi,
good,
Dragonfly.
because
You're late.
you're meant to be. We all are meant to be.
You're
Because while
late,
these lives
girl.
were cut short, their legacies serve as a warning. Fame can certainly make you a legend, but it can also make you a victim. At the end of the day, we're just all people. So let's treat each other with kindness and respect. And my heart goes out to the families and millions of people that were affected by these deaths. But that is it for this video. If you want me to go over any other cases, let me know down below. I just want to say to my audience, I appreciate you so much.
I
have had
appreciate you too,
nothing
man.
but positive interactions with you guys, and I feel so blessed every day to have this platform. So just know that I appreciate you. And
I feel the
hope
same,
that
man.
you stay safe, and I will see your beautiful face in the next video. Okay? Bye.
Bye-bye. That was cool. That was cool.